Well, the president says, all right, you want to shut down the government? Let's see how this works out for you when we start looking at ways to lay off federal workers. You just heard from Roger Marshall about this before the top of the hour. The Kansas U.S. Senator was on the show, and he said, yeah, it might get tied up in the courts, but you know what? The president's going to do it. So we are now 14 hours away, less than 14 hours away from a likely government shutdown, unless Democrats vote on a continuing resolution for a few weeks, which Republicans did while Joe Biden was in office on multiple occasions. They just kept the funding levels where they were to keep the government open and try to get basically a better deal on the back end. But this shutdown could be happening come tonight at midnight Eastern time. And the president just said last hour that if this goes forward, he will start looking at ways to reduce the federal workforce. To that I say, not that I want to see anybody lose their job, but we have a federal government that is way too big, is bloated. You heard the numbers from Doc Marshall. It was 2.8 million federal workers when Joe Biden started. We are now north of 3 million. We're trying to get that number down. Here was the president just last hour.
If there is a shutdown, how many federal workers do you plan to lay off?
Well, we made you a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats. And as you know, they wanted to be able to take care of people that have come into our country illegally, and no system can handle that. And so we're totally opposed on that. But we can't take it. We just can't do it. I'd love to do everybody. I'd love to do the whole world. But our country can't handle people that come into our country illegally. And they want to give them full health care benefits. They want to open the wall again. Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. They want to open the wall. They haven't taken away boys playing in women's sports. They haven't done that. Men playing in women's sports. It's like they don't change. They lost an election in a landslide, and they don't change.
Well, that's as Trumpian as it gets right there. But he's right. I mean, everything he laid out there, he's right about. I want to take care of everybody, but our country can't handle it. We can't do this based on what feels good. We have to actually take care of American citizens first and have an immigration system that is appropriate and makes sense based on the country that you're in. All those things are absolutely true. And then he says if they shut down the government, yes, I will look into the possibility and I will basically lay off federal workers. So now if you're Chuck Schumer and you're Hakeem Jeffries and you've been threatening the shutdown, what do? The president has made it very clear. You guys either vote for this continuing resolution, which just keeps the spending levels where they're at today, or you force a shutdown because you won't get to the 60-vote threshold in the Senate out of 100, and then the administration says, great, we're going to start laying people off. Let's be honest, federal workers are not Republican voters by and large. So are they going to risk their own voters losing their jobs rather than just vote on a bill that keeps the spending levels where they're at? Doesn't make any cuts, just keeps the spending levels where they're at. So this is how this works. Just to go through this a little more methodically. The House Republicans passed a 7-week flat funding of the government. Democrats are blocking it, despite voting 13 times for a continuing resolution under Joe Biden, saying we must fund the government. We have to take care of our people. Now they want to shut it down, in part to extend expiring COVID subsidies. What does that do? That kicks in $40 billion a year to insurance companies. But subsidies are what is in part killing American healthcare. It is driving up premiums. It is driving up prices. The average family is paying $25,000 a year for insurance with massive deductibles and out of pocket. I know that we've got our open enrollment here coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm not knocking my company at all here for this. I'm not. It's not on them. It's the system that is so broken that every single year, the amount of money coming out of the paycheck goes up every single year. It's like clockwork. And the deductibles are sky high, too. Once again, it's the system that is broken. The last thing we need is Chuck Schumer getting his way and getting $40 billion a year in subsidies to insurance companies. So the big, beautiful bill signed back on, July 3rd, July 4th, expanded direct primary care. And it guaranteed work requirements on Medicaid and food stamps and no illegals getting benefits. Those are some of the things that Democrats want to reverse. Why? Deep down, they know they're losing. They want to desperately pick a political fight. It's not about any kind of substance. It's just about playing election year politics with a midterm coming up next year. That's it. That's the name of this game. Do not blink. Make them come to the table. If Democrats blink, okay, fine. Trump's government gets funded for another few weeks. And, yes, Republicans eventually do have to get the spending situation figured out. I wish they would work in August. I wish they would show up to their office in August so we wouldn't have to do this song and dance and dog and pony show of a government shutdown. But, that cuts both ways across the political aisle. But if them shut it down, it's going to be on them. And then it's fair game on firing bureaucrats and making this government leaner, which we desperately need to do. Cut back on the government bloat. So let's go, man. Let's see how it plays out these next 14 hours. I'm in. I'm good. Chris in Kansas City, you're on KCMO. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Pete, I want to agree with you 100%. When the chips are down for the Democrats politically, they can always bring up the healthcare system they broke to use as a cudgel against the American people. And if what Trump is saying, and I have no reason not to believe him, is that the Democrats will fight to the death for health care benefits for illegal aliens. And it harkens back to the State of the Union address that Barack Obama was giving many years ago when he said he would not give health care to illegal aliens. And some guy in the House yelled, "You're a liar," and was accused of being a racist ad nauseum for months and years to come. And it just goes to show that guy was right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Chris, no argument here, my man. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out going into tonight. Good call. Thanks so much. Monica in Overland Park. Hey, Monica, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Pete. Listen, I'm confused because I recall when the big, beautiful bill was passed over the summer that they increased the tax credit for this by $2,200 a year. So what other, what other tax credit do they want? I thought they already got one in the law passed. Thank you. I'll take my answer off.
Thank you, Monica. Now, do you mean from the big, beautiful bill?
Yes. There's a tax credit in there for health insurance, pretty sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, every major bill like that is going to have a tax credit for health insurance. But this is about a tax credit for the insurance companies. And Chip Roy out of Texas laid this thing out very well in a post that I will share on X here in just a few minutes. But what they're referring to right now is $40 billion a year to extend the expiring COVID subsidies. We are, at best, 4 years removed from COVID. I would argue 5 years removed from COVID at this point. And we're still talking about subsidies tied to COVID. That's the world we're living in right now. You can't make this stuff up. So if that is the hill that one political party wants to die on, extending COVID subsidies, I mean, be my guest, I guess. See how it plays out for you politically. But that is a nightmare waiting to happen for them. Now, I see all these things like Politico had the story yesterday saying, if the government shut down, well, Republicans are going to get blamed by 13 percentage points more than the Democrats. I mean, you can get a poll like that to tell you anything you want. I don't believe that for a second. I just don't. Now, I'm sharing the poll with you. You do with it what you want. But Politico doing a poll on who's going to get the blame in a government shutdown? Come on, man. Really? In fact, a lot of people are going to be sitting there and saying, okay, the government shut down. Oh, this is a reminder as to how much the government doesn't matter to me, that it shuts down, and I don't even notice. Mike and Olathe, go ahead.
Pete, although I was a teacher for 5 years, I'm back to what I was doing, and I'm in the healthcare business, writing ACA and Medicare, dude. Now, that's not a big deal, but I've written business already. People making $90,000 to $100,000 are getting a $500 subsidy, so it's virtually nothing for their healthcare. It doesn't make sense because they can afford it. So the fact that insurance companies are getting these stipends under Biden needs to be fixed. People that are poor need the subsidy. People that are making $90,000 to $100,000 do not, and that's what the deal is. And if the Democrats, I think we want the shutdown. I really do.
So this is
gone,
so you're saying that subsidy is if you have Obamacare.
If you go on the Affordable Care Act,
yes.
And as of while Biden was president, it blew my mind when I came back to this and saw it because I've never been doing it. I've never done ACA. It's mind-boggling. They're making $90,000 and they're getting $500 or $600 a month to offset their $1,000 bill. It's mind-boggling.
But isn't this? And so you work in the industry then, Mike. So you understand then. Isn't this exactly why we want less government intervention in industries like this? Because it sounds good on paper, you're getting $500 in a subsidy, but if the overall cost of healthcare to everybody else keeps skyrocketing, then it's a net loss for everybody involved. And the government just comes in on the back end and says they're fixing a problem that they helped create.
That's right. And the more you give to people that don't need it, the more it costs the people that do. But that's the way Democratic economics works. It doesn't make sense. So we need a calibration, and hey, let it happen. But anyway, that's what's going on.
All right. Well, that's great information, Mike, as somebody in the business. Thank you for that. 913-408-7957. It just reminds me, I'm trying to find the email here. I can't find it. Overland Park sent an email out to its media folks last week saying, hey, not enough people are applying for our property tax credit. If you could help get the word out. And I'm paraphrasing this here. But I'm like, this is exactly what we're talking about. You guys say, oh, no, our property taxes are great. We keep a low rate here. You're taking more money than ever before. And now what you're doing on the back end with the people's money is offering them a tax credit on money you've taken from them. I think it was Friday when I was out that I got this email from Overland Park Thursday afternoon. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me, guys. You brag about how you keep rates low. Now you're offering a property tax credit to your residents, basically admitting that you're charging too much on the taxes. And you're like, no one's applying for this credit. We're trying to help people. It's like, no, you don't get to screw people and then say you're helping them on the back end, guys. You don't get to do that. Stop.